Hello, welcome to another episode of our podcast. My guest today is one of the most ambiguous musicians, artists that ever came from Swedish metal scene, Jonathan Hultén. Glad to have you. How are you?
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I'm good. Yeah, happy to be on your podcast.
Let's start with something pretty problematic, I guess, or maybe something you just hate to be asked all the time, again and over again. What about you leaving Tribulation? I know it's been a couple of years ago, but you kind of left while the band was at the peak of its, success. So, what made you leave the band?
Yeah, it's simple explanation is that I wanted to play different music, and since we only have one life, we only have so much time, and we have to be careful with where we put that time and how we spend our lives, because at the end of the all our years, our lives, when we are at our deathbed, if we live that long, you will think back, perhaps, and think about did I really do what I wanted to do, or did I just go on the track I was on when I actually wanted to do something else? That's it's a very wide, encompassing answer, but I think it paints a fair picture of the reason.
So let's start with a chance from another place. When I first listened to it, it reminded me of Nick Drake, Tim Buckley, probably most of all about Jackson C. Frank. Can you tell us the major influence on your music by the time you recorded it?
Absolutely. Nick Drake's Pink Moon was and still is like one of the best albums, most impactful albums for me stylistically and just in general. Um, I was in my I was an adolescent when I heard it for the first time, and I just started to pick up the acoustic guitar and started to record my own stuff. And just the concept itself of singing the way he sings, it's so reserved, it's so quiet, but um, it's so, how to say, there's something, it's so heavy. There's so much heaviness behind his voice and his words, and also, of course, if you know the story of his life and the story of how that album came to be, that it was his last. It's very tragic, and that's not the reason, of course, why the music is good, regardless. But it adds somehow
The
to
context.
to the context. Absolutely, yeah. That album has impacted me so much. I would even say that it's the main influence of my of the start of my finger picking career.
So it was like you had a full drawer of ideas that just needed to be recycled, right?
Oh yeah. So throughout uh, about 10 years time or more, I was collecting material, and just at a certain point, I had this dream when I was younger of being a singer-songwriter, basically. And then I put that aside to just go 100% into the bands that I was in. Yeah, Tribulation, basically. And when I was that's vision, like that, not vision maybe, but that like that wish to create that type of music was always there. And although we toured and we recorded albums, there was always an attraction to something more calm and peaceful, that was in total contrast to the rather adventurous and chaotic nature of metal and the music we made. So when I was around 25, I picked it up and recorded some songs and put it out on YouTube. And from there on, I just couldn't stop. I just needed to record an EP, an album, and now I just doing that. That's the journey.
Yet with the newest album, you again made a stylistic change. Like it's more synthy, it's more orchestral. The sound palette is has broadened, right? So, when I was listening to the River Flame, I thought that these organs kind of sound like Johnny Mitchell's Woodstock. And then when I heard The Cure,
The Dream Was the Cure.
The Dream Was the Cure, right. The intro, again, the organ sounded like Perfect Strangers by Deep Purple. So it's like a lot of different influences. So where are you going with that sound nowadays? What was the story behind, broadening the palette?
Since the previous album was collected and recorded over such a long period of time, there was really a lot of time for things to fall into place and grow gradually, slowly, take form over a 10 years period of time. With this album, I started to record demos and ideas in the early 2023. So the time frame is completely different. It was completely created from scratch, almost created from scratch, in 1.5 years time, recorded and written. So, yeah, I know it's a cliche, but the second album is sometimes the hardest. When it's like you take a step with the first album, and then with the second album, you are deciding which direction to go.
And you have to prove yourself again. Like you weren't a fluke.
Right. And to yourself as well. You want to create something that interests you more than you did the last time. You want to outdo yourself. So there's for sure that element. Then, of course, when it comes to art, it's not about a competition, not even against yourself. It's like creating something that comes from your heart, that is genuine, that's like feels as close to what you are inside as possible, and resonates as much as possible with something like your soul. So it was a very intense period, that year and that 1.5 years. So the reason why it's so different from the first album is those conditions, the time frame, but also it wasn't just the 30-year-old me who wrote Chance from Another Place. It was also the 22-year-old me. And when I wrote this newest album, it was only the 33-year-old. It was like so much in the moment, and so many ideas, and which way to go and what resonates the most. It was like a complete chaos. But in having like 28 songs or something like that, you gradually like pick out the ones that doesn't resonate as much, and you end up with 12 songs that feels the most heartful to you. So that was what was happening. That's the process.
And what about the recording process? Because on the first album you did everything all by yourself, right? And this time you used a little help of your friend.
Yeah, I had some help on the last album as well. It was Ola's friend Nacho Montero, who played drums at Outskirts, the 6th song I think it is on the first album. So I'm not a drummer. I'm not good at drumming. So I had some help with the drums this time around by the drummer of Monolord, Espen Willems, and my friend Maria Larsson, and my friend Ida Nilsson, Ida Nilsson, who played the harmonica, and Maria also played the violin. So we were a little team this time around. Most of it was recorded in here. This is my closet. So I have this microphone over here, a T12 from Mic Parts, and the guitar. So it's my substitute for a studio, I guess.
It really looks closet-ish.
Yes.
That I can say. And what about, maybe it's too early to ask that, but do you have, like a third album in mind? Do you plan on more stylistic changes, or would you like to keep the direction you're doing now?
I'm already writing new music, yes. And things will change.
Wouldn't expect any less.
Yeah, it's still an exploration. It's still a search for the things that resonate the most. So you never know where it's going to end up, and I guess that's partly why it's still fun to do and feels meaningful.
And what about the visual part? Previous album cover was made by yourself, right? How about this song?
Correct. Yeah, I think I'll probably continue to illustrate. With the first album, I went with a style that made it easier to illustrate. It was a little more efficient, a little faster, the process of creating the images. And so I could also animate them more easily. It didn't take as much time as it with this album. I went too much into detail, so I won't be able to go with that style throughout, like create animated videos, unless I like simplify it a little. It's a matter of time management in the end. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to write music or do you want to create images? You can do both, but you just have to manage it wisely.
There was a theme on Chance. It was about death and rebirth, so it kind of made sense given you've changed a lot in your life to start your solo career. Is there a common theme for the songs on the new album?
Yeah, what I usually describe it as is that if Chance, the first album, was about sitting in a forest and being deep in thought and being calm in the presence, this album is about lifting your head up, seeing the stars, and feeling an urge to get up and walking, but you don't know the destination. So it's about starting to move. It's about starting a journey, I guess. Whereas a Chance maybe was the starting point, but not the actual journeying.
Well, it definitely sounds more flamboyant. I mean, it's so stylistically. I mean, one song is different from another, and then you get these instrumental tracks, which kind of seem like interludes in a narration. Am I on a good track with this idea?
Sure. I really like the idea of having small interludes when you listen to the album as a whole. And so it doesn't just become another verse, chorus sort of thing throughout the whole album. So there are some diversities introduced, and it really becomes a flow, a journey through different moodscapes. And I think the instrumental parts really help with that. And I don't know if I'll continue with this, but I have this idea of that there always has to be a piano, more or less a piano solo track on each album. I'm a little hung up on the idea, I guess, with solo piano. I really like it.
What about the costumes and the makeup? Does it help you to kind of transcend your personality to become a different persona?
Yeah, it sure does. It's getting into a very specific atmosphere that really helps for going on stage. It's like materializing the music in the physical world while you're performing the music. It's like the visual aspect, the musical aspect, and even the having some incense helps as well. So you get that aspect as well. It's about all the senses and creating a world that you enter into. So it's not only for me, but also for the whole experience, experiencing the concert. I see it that way.
And your costumes become more and more elaborate, I would say. So do you build them on your own or do you use help?
No. It's all just, I go to thrift shops and just find whatever speaks to me and looks interesting or cool. And I go home, just try to hang it over myself somehow until it resonates. So it's all improvised, you could say, but it needs to feel right. If it doesn't feel right, it's like it doesn't make sense.
So Jonathan Hultén, a visual artist, a musician, and a seamstress.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, there's a lot of ambiguity in your music. I mean, you're ambiguous musically, spiritually, and kind of sexually. Do you get any backlash for, kind of bending the boundaries between genres and genders?
Not that as anyone have told me in person, at least. I mean, it's just been a part of my expression, I guess, since so long that I don't even think about it. It's in the end, you can just try to be yourself, and I think that's what I'm trying to do. And whether someone thinks it's how to say, do I face any backlash? No, it's like that's a simple answer, I guess. I'm just trying to express my inner on the outer, and it's art. And I mean, of course, in the beginning, maybe I was when we were more in a metal context. When I was more in a metal context, there were more like critique, maybe you could say. But I learned I didn't care about it back then, and I don't care about it now.
But is the makeup and the costumes a way to, I don't know, stress the escapism that comes with such music? Because you were a gamer, so you know what escapism is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, I mean, that you could for sure maybe interpret it as creating different worlds as a way to escape reality, but that's a perspective, I suppose. It could also be a filter through which to view reality, and I guess that's what art is and storytelling is so good at. It can convey aspects of reality that are hard to take in reality, but in the form of a story or a piece of art, it's digestible, and like when it's presented in a certain way, it's you can understand it in a different light. And yeah, so I think art can inform reality and form it, I suppose. So that's become a difficult question, I guess. In the end, what is it escapism, or is it what is art? That becomes the question.
No, like, are you escaping reality or just processing it?
Absolutely, that's the question, definitely.
And you call your style ambient dream grunge.
Yes.
I struggle to find the grunge particle in it.
Yeah,
Care
it's more
to
of a
explain?
sure. So I was really influenced by grunge bands, especially Nirvana, and the way they wrote songs, and not caring much about whether it should be minor or major chords. Just it seemed on their songs as if they just wrote what felt right, and it's just blew me away the way the chord sequences are built, and it's just brilliant, I guess. So the way grunge also with Nirvana, but also in general, was just bending the emphasis between major and minor. That was a really big ingredient in my own music, came to be. So I still think of grunge when I like, if I'm going to choose, I could have chosen rock, but yeah, grunge is a little more specific, and yeah, I still like the idea of grunge, I guess. Really like the rawness in it. It's so direct. And yeah, ambient dream grunge, ambient because of the atmosphere. It's like emphasizing the importance of the atmosphere in general, and dream because of the otherworldly, ethereal aspect that I want to infuse the music with to create this world. So, and the rock, so grunge. So an atmospheric, dreamy rock world, perhaps.
And when you write your songs, do you usually write on keyboards or on guitar? And did it change with the newest record?
Yeah, I've always written on guitar. Sometimes I've written on piano as well, but mostly on guitar, I should say. Actually, the new way for me to write music is to just record the fragments, the ideas that come to me in the moment in voice memos in iPhone. And the ideas mostly come when I'm standing with the guitar. They can come anytime, like in the middle of the night or when you're waiting for the bus. But most of the time, they come when I'm rehearsing. So when it happens, I just need to quit rehearse, take a pause in rehearsing and record the idea and then continue. And if another idea just stop rehearsing, record the idea, and so you end up with a bank of fragments, and then you go back to this bank of fragments and listen to it again a couple of weeks later, a few months later, and whatever feels the most, that resonates the most with you still after all that time, you pick that up and then you build a demo around that. So yeah, I have a lot of fragments that don't go anywhere, and also a lot of demos that will never go anywhere. But it's the method that has been working for me.
Yeah, collateral damage, right?
Yeah, 100 songs, maybe one song is the one that stays.
And what about being a solo artist versus playing in a band? Like, what are the differences? What are the pros and what are the cons of each?
Lately, I've been realizing that it's so important to. It's so helpful to. I should say that it's. If I say it like this, when I left the band, I went almost DIY. I had a booking agent in. With All Things Live in Denmark, but that was it. I did everything myself, and I'm still doing it, and it went pretty okay. Like there were some shows, some tours. I recorded an album, but I think it was last year when there were a little more tours, and I also spent 6 months recording an album. It was like, no, I don't have time to do anything. All I'm doing is working, and I can never. And there's still not enough time. A lot of compromises had to be made. So what I'm trying to say is that if you are more people, if you are a team, each person can take a role and collaborate and like unburden yourself. Because if you think about it, one person's burden comes half the burden. If you're two people, even just imagine being four. It's like it's. Helps the efficiency of everything that you do so much. So that's one thing. Then of course it can get lonely to be alone. It's both good and bad, because I should say that I'm an introvert, and sometimes I have need to like be alone for many hours at a time. And it's really helps me recharge my batteries and helps me focus to get things done. But if you're alone too much, then you'll just become unhappy.
There's this theory about music that the place you live in influences the music you make. You come from a relatively small town, Arvika, right? In near Denmark and Norway. And my question is, given that there was an artistic commune 100 years ago in Arvika, and given how small and kind of secluded it is, would you say it was some kind of an influence on your sound, or maybe on the contrary, it was like being secluded from the mainstream metropolitan Swedish scene?
That's well. I think perhaps it could have been more like that. That it would only have been the environment that shaped the way the music came to be many years ago, like when the modern world didn't exist, when you were more isolated and more left. How should I say? When there weren't as many impressions as there are today. But since we grew up in the internet age, and even before that, the age of where CDs and vinyls existed, media existed, I think in the end, what has the most impact is what you consume. And I would say that what we consumed, or what I consumed, you could have consumed that anywhere in the world. It's like the classical heavy metal bands like Iron Maiden, for example, or all the singer-songwriters that I liked. They didn't come from Arvika at all. And I always longed to go on adventures, to see new places, to get out in the world. So there has not been much I don't have a very romantic picture of where I happen to grow up. I'm thinking more of the world itself. Anywhere could be home if it feels like home. It's more like your home is where your heart is, and I guess the same with nature. Sure, every region has a specific type of nature, but in the same way that nature is nature, we're all people, and the earth is the earth, the ocean is the ocean. You can find inspiration anywhere, everywhere, at any moment, even just from a word, a fragment of a song. It could be a walk in nature, whether it's where you grew up or whether it's somewhere you're visiting. It's more about the universal aspect of things that inspires me.
And that seems like a good conclusion to the interview. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much. A pleasure talking to you too.